say this quite frequently. See what technology did? It took us from being outside, sitting on the step, and in your case, in my case, in my family's case, listen to the baseball game on the radio. Now, even though
what's good, y'all? Anyway, man, that's my old head Sonny Hill right there, who has a little radio show every Sunday morning, man. And dude is a national treasure. You know what I'm saying? He used to play basketball for the Eastern Basketball League back in the day. Then played with guys like Will Chamberlain and, you know what I mean, and Bill Russell and Jerry West, and Guy Rogers, and, you know, all those different guys, man. Known well. He used to actually be on the CBS broadcast back in the day doing sideline reporting and sideline commentating for Boston Celtics games, Sixers games, you know what I mean, back in the early 80s, man. For those who know, you know what I'm saying? But he's probably most famous locally here in Philly for running the Sonny Hill Baker League, which was the baddest summer league competition you would get. All the greats came through that spot here, man. You know what I mean? Those were the good days, man. Guys about like 84, 85 years old, man. So I don't know how long we're gonna have him, man. But he's one of the main people that has helped shape my view of the game of basketball. You know, the way I see it and everything, man. You know what I mean? So shout out to Sonny Hill, man, Mr. Hill. Anyway, man. So today we have the game that will finally give us the matchup between Paige Bueckers, the #1 overall pick this year, spectacular rookie out there doing her thing, and last year's rookie sensation, Caitlin Clark. And not the first time that their teams meet, but the first time we will see them as pros, you know, go at it. Now I don't know what the state of the situation is going to be. I know Caitlin Clark is in a very fortunate situation. She herself had to miss a few games, as we know, due to whatever reason. I mean, he claimed it was groin and quad, you know. But she's been very fortunate in that teammates. She's got some of the most durable teammates I've ever seen. Meaning, you know, Aaliyah Boston is always available. I don't think she's missed a game since Caitlin Clark has been in the league. The same thing with Kelsey Mitchell. Has not missed a game since Caitlin Clark has been here. So she's always got to play with a big three all the time, ever since she came into the league. And all of y'all that come with this lame crap about she carried that team or anything like they didn't win. They won 13 games the year before. Y'all are lame and you know it. You know your logic is trash. The reality is they were two players. The Fever that year were not the worst team in the league, even though they ended up with the #1 pick. They ended up with the #1 pick because of some other reasons. That team, if you listen to anyone who actually watched the Fever that year, they were a very competitive team that would get close to winning and stuff like that. But then they would, like, you know, lose in the end. They were just missing a piece. And Caitlin Clark happened to be that piece, but there was no carrying. We all know what Aaliyah Boston contributes. If not, you're just lame, and you need to just stop watching that team if you don't understand that Aaliyah Boston really, for my money, is the best player on that team, for real, because you got to look at offense, defense, the effect. Like, I know, as far as, you know, beating the Chicago Sky, the most trouble that the Chicago Sky has with Indiana when they play them is, what do you do about Aaliyah Boston? Like, we're still waiting for Camila Cardoso to have a breakout game against Aaliyah Boston. That's really the problem. Aaliyah Boston just has a big sis effect over her right now that we're just hoping, you know, that we get through. Aaliyah Boston is one of the few players that can physically deal with Chicago. That's Chicago's strength, is the physicality that they bring. in the league of Boston is a physical player. Okay? That's the reality. Same with having Kelsey Mitchell. You're talking about a player that can get their own shot going alongside you. A player that doesn't need you to set them up. I mean, if you don't understand the value in that, you're lame. You're lame, right? And you're just a sycophant fan who just wants to sit out here and just glaze a player, and that's all you're doing. That's all you're bringing to the table, and you're pathetic, and it's ridiculous. You need to stop. You need to recognize what since Caitlin Clark's been here, she's had everything she needs to succeed. I got a big. I got a primary scorer who can score on their own, who can get me 20 by themselves. I'm here to facilitate and get my points as well. Along with that, I have a 40% three-point shooter in Lexi Hall there with me who also plays defense, right? I got a wing that's 40%. I got a big that's 50%. And I got just a scorer that can get you 20 every night. Okay? Like, what are we talking about? And then I'm going to add to that, after that, a couple of former champions and Natasha Howard, who can also get you 17 a night. I'm going to add DeWanna Bonner. Okay, I don't care if it didn't work out. DeWanna Bonner is a quality player who's going to show you what it is over there in Phoenix when you play with a real player that makes people better than Alyssa Thomas. So you're going to see that as well. Okay? All right? She didn't know what to do with Erica Wheeler. Erica Wheeler just that player Erica Wheeler is like last year's Bonner, right? Every year y'all got a player that can actually fucking play, right? That can't work out with CC, so y'all think that player sucks, right? Just like, Stephanie White, who is a quality coach. This year is Christy Sides, right? So you got that going on, okay? That's on one hand. And then now you have Paige Bueckers, right? And y'all real lame about that. Y'all real lame about that, okay? Basketball people who watch, they're going to come to the conclusion that Paige Bueckers is a better basketball player, better guard, right? It's really clear to people who just not biased about it and they're just looking at their games. You can't describe anything on a basketball court that Caitlin Clark does better than a Paige Bueckers. Not a thing, right? Some of you will try to say passing. I don't agree with that at all, right? Give me the player that can give me 6 assists a day, 6 assists a night with only 2 turnovers versus someone that's going to go out there and give me all these assists, 8 assists, 9 assists, and all of this, right? Disrupt the whole flow of the offense because they got to get their 9 assists and 6 damn turnovers. Okay? Give me the one that's going to give me 6 and 2. That's going to make smart passes. Not going to try dumb stuff. Right? We can work out an offense with all 5 players. I don't need one player to be the system. Okay? Because then when the playoffs time come, as long as you stop that one person, y'all gonna get blown the freak out, which is what's gonna happen if Stephanie White goes along with these foolish fans want. That's what's gonna happen. All right, but anyway, back to Paige Bueckers compared to Caitlin Clark. Paige Bueckers is not in an advantageous situation. Now, to start the season off, she did have a little bit of help. You got Arike Ogunbowale, who for my money is probably one of, if not the best one-on-one players in the league. For some reason, though, Arike is not Arike this year. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's something physically wrong with her. I don't know if it's something up here where she's just not as focused as she needs to be. I don't know what it is, but I think we would all have to agree that 16 points a night Arike is not Arike from last year who was scoring 23 a night, leading the league, second in the league in scoring, okay? Most dynamic player you would watch if you're watching. Right? Kind of gives you Kyrie Irving vibes and that sort of thing. That Arike hasn't shown up this year. Efficiency just horrible. Never the most efficient player before, but efficiency even worse now. She did get Dejanay Carrington, okay? That's a very, very good wing. My favorite wing in the world, but is a more defensive player than an offensive player, though she can get you some points, okay? She can get you some points. But a defensive player, spot-up shooter, not that reliable, okay? Hines Allen, Big T, these are your bigs. They just added Lee Rue, who is providing some things. But compared to an Aaliyah Boston, is laughable, okay? It's laughable. The point I'm making here is Paige Bueckers did not walk into a situation that's as favorable as Caitlin Clark's, and anyone who tries to make that argument, or anyone who tries to say that that's not important, is lame. It's lame to even try to do that, okay? Because that's not the metric that an honest person would use to try to determine who's better out of these two players. It really isn't. One could look at stat numbers and all of that. You probably don't want to do that because what you'll find is Paige is off to a better start statistically than Caitlin Clark, pretty much in every metric. By every metric, pretty much, assist to turnover ratio, points, defensive efficiency, just everything, pretty much, except for maybe the foul line where Caitlin Clark might be a few points better. Okay. That's the case. Now, if you're going to look at wins, team wins, it's really silly. Dallas Wings really were dead last year. They weren't like just number one because I had someone else's pick. No. They really were dead last season. Okay. They really just scrapped the team. Like, because technically they could have kept Natasha Howard, for example, who would be a great addition for Paige Bueckers. I believe Natasha Howard would definitely rather play for the Paige Bueckers than a Caitlin Clark. Like, for real, she was there. Just imagine, just the way Dallas is, but with Natasha Howard. Different situation. Satu Sabali, if they'd have kept her, for example, Dallas would be a serious. Then we could talk. In other words, had Paige Bueckers walked into playing with Satu, playing with Natasha Howard, playing with Arike, then we got something to talk about. We can do that. Like Caitlin walked into the situation. I know y'all like to downplay her play teammates, which is ridiculous. They're all stars, and it's not because Caitlin's there. They're all stars because they were all stars before she got there. Okay? All right. So what we're going to look at is the skills of these two players. And I'm saying this to say, listen. And then on top of that, right, the other thing with Dallas is Arike Dejanay Carrington has been out for I don't know how long, weeks. They've been out because Dallas started to actually get a little bit of momentum. They actually got to a point where they won 5 of their last 7 or something like that. And then Arike and Dejanay Carrington has been out for I don't know how long. Don't know when they're coming back. Don't even know what the hell the problem is. And it's like, I don't know if they're going to play today. I guess I'll look into that. That'll affect. I don't even know that'll affect my judgment because you can't even expect them to come immediately back and be clicking, right? So I expect the Fever to win the game. But I also expect Paige Bueckers to put on a nice little show. For us, and Caitlin Clark might put on a show as well. She might. At some point you figure Caitlin's got to get out of this rut that she's in, shooting the ball. There's no way she's going to keep shooting this bad constantly, right? There's going to be some breakout game that all our fans are going to go crazy about, and this could be it. I wouldn't be surprised, So I got to pick the Fever to win this game, obviously for obvious reasons, and but I think Paige will put on a nice little show like she did last time. So that's my thoughts on this game. And see y'all later. Peace.